We have this from the Daily Mail. Ex-National Security Advisor John Bolton, we trust him, warns Russia is very likely behind Havana syndrome amid fears it's being used as energy weapon, as he claims it isn't being taken seriously. As soon as John Bolton comes out and claims it's Russia, I immediately say it's probably not. But the story is that 60 Minutes ran this. They ran a story where they said they had a whistleblower claiming that Russia has energy weapons. They park cars near U.S. intelligence agents' domiciles or places of work. And the people report hearing things like a marble rolling down steel or a ringing. And then all of a sudden, over a period of time, they start becoming dizzy. Their brain can't process stairs anymore. They become light sensitive and have to wear special glasses. One woman said she went to the doctor and got a brain scan. And the doctor said there are holes in your brain, like that have just developed like rather rapidly. So the question is, do Russian spies have weapons to scramble the brains of
This isn't
humans?
the first time I've heard of something like this, because I know there are these compilations of people, and I know Judge Judy is one of them, where like there's newscasters or like prominent personalities and they're talking and then they just and like their mouth doesn't work. And you can look up these clips. Look up Judge Judy forgets how to talk, and it's not a stroke. And there's like there's like a lot of these videos that I've seen.
This Havana syndrome's been around since I think the 70s. Whenever this is where it comes from, Havana, Cuba, and they purportedly were experimenting on American troops.
I've seen this, Judge. This isn't a sliding door.
One of those, yeah.
No, but the title is not good.
No, but Judge Judy forgets how to speak.
Shout out to Judge Judy.
I mean, the Russians could be doing it, but this totally doesn't sound like anything we do to ourselves.
Yeah, I think first answer to the question you asked him, do they have? Probably they do have the tech, and makes me think that we also have the tech. When your government warmongers come out and tell you that the enemy has a weapon, that probably means that you have the weapon and have been using it.
It just so happens that the people they want us to not like are doing something.
Is this it? Judge Judy makes noises and speaks gibberish?
You know we're doing it the whole time. I know we are.
I think I'm going to do this. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
No, this is just...
Okay.
That is certainly not it. That is her just insulting people. So, yeah, I've not heard this.
But you think they're firing energy weapons at like people on TV to mix them up in the middle of their communication? Is that what
I don't know what it is.
Could it be that Jim Carrey was given the powers of God and is just getting revenge on his enemies?
Or I heard he put on this mask on his hand.
Yeah. On his hand, yeah. And then it took over his body, and you can only imagine where it went from there.
I think it was called the hand.
Yeah,
the best part about that is, Michael, is that when we clip this segment out of the main show, people have no idea what you are talking about.
What a sick mind
the best
he has.
thing
so
is that mask just went on auction last week.
Oh, the real mask?
Yes.
Really?
And during that auction, I won one of the Lament configurations from one of the Hellraiser movies, and Lord Fornicus's orb from Cabin in the Woods. And they're both going into my bedroom where they belong.
But the mask was just out of your...
I just started
I
listening.
didn't want the mask.
I can't find this thing you're referring to.
I'll look for it. I'll look for it.
I just started listening to the Hellraiser book.
There's like video
Hellbound Heart?
compilations of news anchors who just break down and can't talk.
Yes.
That sounds like Bruce Almighty.
Sounds like Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, I mean, people are just having strokes.
But they've been developing weapons like this for decades. You said 70s.
Oh, she's calling it a mini stroke.
Mini stroke?
She's calling it a mini stroke. And then there's a CNN one. CNN host suffers a stroke on air.
Wow. I could see sometimes they'll be dehydrated up there.
Ian, how many times have you done this show? Have you ever been dehydrated that you don't know how to talk?
I'm not.
We all want that, Ian.
It's a derogatory term. I'm not one of them. No, I'm a health-based first. But if night after night after night, you're getting. Judy was probably in her 50s or 60s.
She's not doing it live. You think she does it for like an hour a day?
Okay, but maybe with the hot lights too.
There's someone.
Might have been halogen lighting.
There's
too.
someone in the crowd with a machine making her stop talking.
Yeah, I can't find the video of this. I can see the story.
If you go to YouTube and look, I found it. There's like a million of them.
So they didn't scrub it after the news came out of the brain holes machine.
Hold on.
Oh wow, this Havana syndrome thing's been around recently. Beginning in 2017, more people.
I'll find a compilation. Yeah. News.
The one lady said that her like cell phone battery was about to explode from her being attacked.
Yeah, I can only find videos of her talking about having had a mini stroke, but I can't find any videos of it.
So this is like the Havana syndrome, medical condition reported by U.S. and Canadian government officials and military personnel, primarily in overseas locations. Reported symptoms range from ringing in the ears, cognitive dysfunction, and pain. And they were first reported in 2016. It sounds like high-tech attack weaponry.
Totally possible that we all have this technology.
Yeah,
right?
and it was tested overseas on purpose because they didn't want to do it in Baltimore.
Of course. And then we also take into account that CBS is reporting on this. And I was thinking about Tim and thinking about Gelman's amnesia, and this is a great example of it. Like CBS 60 Minutes just a little bit ago got in trouble for the deceptively editing the Moms for Liberty interview. So if you're going to know that they're bad with that, why would anyone trust this? Because it seems like they're just getting intel from an officer.
So a boat crashes into one of two support columns, taking out the one of the largest ports in the country and disabling East Coast hazmat or crippling East Coast hazmat transportation.
Yeah.
And within hours, they go, we didn't investigate, but it's an accident. There's no sign of terror.
Nothing to see here.
They didn't literally say we didn't investigate. They were just like, come on, you can't investigate in 5 hours.
Right.
But they came out and said, no signs of terrorism. It's just an accident. And I'm like, okay, I can believe that. That's fine. That's fine. That this ship at the right moment lost power, at the right time kicked it on, at the right time fully revved its engines, forcing it to steer right into that pillar. And a lot of people think it's an accident, fine. But then within a couple days, they come out and also Russia has magic weapon. I shouldn't say magic, but Russia has energy weapons that can fry holes in your brains, and we should go to war with them.
Also, we're going to say it on April 1st. So maybe it's a joke.
Yeah,
also, it might get lost.
Well, it was the day before.
I can't believe they scrubbed this. Like, there's all these articles about it, but you can't find the video of Judge Judy.
Is this another Mandela effect?
No, but
victim?
there's articles about Judge Judy suffered
Okay.
mini stroke live on
Okay.
air, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
But not
Interesting.
live. Not
Live, it was live.
Oh, but she said she taped her shows.
But it's live on tape, do you know what I mean? They aired it.
I get you now.
The 60-minute special about the
Live
Havana
on
syndrome, it all just seems like straight up propaganda to me.
Dude, they probably got lasers from orbit, not lasers, radio microwaves.
They give us like footage of a 15-mile police chase with a supposed Russian spy who they supposedly give us his name, and then they say he went back to Russia, and then now they have
How would this
a
energy
death
weapon
certificate.
work? Like, if I can't have any precision if you're like inside a building and I'm pointing something at you.
Depends on the frequency and what the walls are made of.
Maybe it's like those acoustic satellite things, or not satellites, but those things on top of trucks to disperse crowds.
Oh yeah,
and they direct
active
a-
denial systems.
I forget what it's called, but it does like a high pitch or something to get rid of the whole crowd.
But that doesn't target one person.
It targets like a group of people.
My
Yeah.
point is, like, if I want to take out Ian and not me and you and Tim, and I'm outside in some van, that's
You'd have
really
to
hard.
you'd have to triangulate
Right?
in beams into one location and pinpoint it on their brain or
Yeah.
something like that.
But
It's
I-
called talking plasma. They have that technology too, where they can make you hear things,
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
teleport sound.
And so, but I think if we know that they can do the crowd dispersal thing, I typically tend to think that these evil people have
Holes-
access to
yeah, but
technology
I
further
agree
along.
with that.
Right.
It's an
Broadly
invisible
speaking,
weapon.
Right.
but holes in the brain sounds like a lot of work to do remotely.
Well, the first thing I
As
thought
opposed
was
to brain
They did have a
test.
heart attack gun in the
if it was
70s.
doing like a magnetic frequency in the brain and creating a pattern, it was like it pushed open, like magnetically pushed the brain open in areas and created divots. Kind of could
Right.
have done that, like bent the mind, bent the
Right.
brain.
I wonder what holes in the brain, even if that's like when I'm watching that and I'm seeing that lady talk about it, I'm like, that could be propaganda, right? Like, she might not have even been told.
Like babies in incubators. That's Iraq
in
war
the 60 Minutes
propaganda.
program, they're like, we talked to one person who we can't tell you his name nor the agency he works for, and it's all just like everything seems like a narrative they created to
It is
scare
narrative.
people.
But
It's all
Russia,
narrative.
We want you to be scared of Russia because we're going to war with Russia soon, and we need to muster up public support.
Yes.
This on 60 Minutes.
Putin can put holes in your brain.
Did you see on Drudge they're talking about Putin's thinking about using nukes?
nope.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Putin is saying he wants to use nukes.
I know, but my point is, like, is that an argument to extend this war?
No, he's saying 'cause
right,
he has
exactly.
to. If you're the world leader and you have nuclear arms, you got to say nuclear arms are on the table. By the way,
Yeah, and you can't hug your family with nuclear arms.
unfortunately, no, you're right. Unless they have lead chests,
I will kill you myself.
like Michael Malice.
To be
lead
fair, I
packs, they
stole
call
that
them.
joke from Family Guy. I have no
Yeah,
original humor.
and then Adam Carolla as Death kills her.
Yes, he does. Adam
making that
Carolla
joke?
as Death. He just
Death was
touches
on a
her hand.
date, and the girl goes, "You can't hug the world nuclear arms." And he
He's
goes,
like, "What are you talking
and
about?"
he just leans over and touches her, and she dies.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
That was his deal with Pete or whatever. He's struggling to pick up this chick at the cafe. But then she says a whole bunch of things about eating meat. And he's like, what are you talking about? Animals kill each other all the time. She's like, animals don't have war. That's why, like, we shouldn't eat them. And he's like, what do you mean? They kill each other all the time. And she's like, and nuclear arms? You can't hug your family with nuclear arms. And then he just touches her hand and then she just dies.
Well,
Yeah,
this
the
is a
animal
great,
kingdom.
great segue to World War III.
The animal kingdom bypasses
Yeah, so,
war.
World-
It just-
I mean, World
it
War
starts
III is
genocide on
trending.
itself.
We've been in
World
it.
Yeah, there's been articles for a year now that we're in World War III.
We've been in since 9/11.
There's been articles for a year getting people used to the idea.
We just
that
got
this is
to
normal.
we got to admit
Yes.
that we're the aggressors. That's what we got to look at. If we're going to talk about World War III, the United States aggressed it and started it in 2001 when they went into Afghanistan. That was insane.
Well, we got to
World War III
Ian,
crap.
this may come as a surprise to you, but the world existed before you were born.
Yeah, but I mean, we could go back, but like the end, maybe the World War II never ended. They just had a Cold War for a while, and then now they're back.
Like
in
we were in
communists.
Iraq.
I think we
before-
should nuke Germany. I agree with you.
We were
and World War II.
we were in Iraq, Desert Storm. You know, you've got.
We weren't mobilized for military global war until 2001. That was
That's
when everything
not
mobilized.
true, dude.
The
You
whole
have-
world
you-
mobilized
You
behind the
could have
U.S.
had a world war before 2001, stupid.
Yeah, Ian, I think because you lived 9/11, you have 9/11 PTSD.
9/11 gave the U.S. carte blanche to declare war on the world, basically, and anyone that wasn't
We
with
had
us was
that.
against
We
us.
had
We
that
had-
already,
we
though.
had that.
We had that because, you think about Eisenhower with the military-industrial complex. He saw things happening already.
and
They
when
were
was
coalescing that
and when was
power.
the last declaration of war?
It
World
was
War
like
II.
Spain.
World War
No,
II.
World War II. Must have been World War
Yeah.
II.
So what do you?
Yeah.
You always bring this up. It's like, oh, 9/11 did. I'm like, dude, they were doing these things well before 9/11 was just another
Vietnam.
major component of it. With
Yeah.
the Patriots.
Vietnam was
North
pretty
Korea.
horrific.
There was
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, the
That's why it
Gulf
seems
of
like it-
Tonkin incident. You want to talk about declaring war? The Gulf of Tonkin incident was a false flag the U.S. Used to justify entering the Vietnam War.
done by Jim Morrison's
So
father.
it could be like
true?
what do we call World War I, II, and III is all just one protracted 100 years war that
there's-
started in 1916.
but the reality
1914.
is,
started in
we-
1913 with the Federal Reserve Act.
We draw these distinctions because the world is always in a state of conflict. It's just to varying degrees.
And the last 100 years has been global.
And then after this next great war, whatever it actually becomes, when it goes fully hot and international, there will be an effort to create a new world order, as George H.W. Bush said in the late 80s, early 90s. And they will try to use the conflict to justify a singular global authority for law enforcement.
And
Yeah.
they got the information, whether intentionally or otherwise, during COVID, how much Americans would put up with.
Right.
And the answer is a lot.
Yes, totally right.
The global citizens as well, but yeah, Americans
But we're
particularly,
the
because
concern.
that's the bastion of freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We turned our neighbors in quickly in this country.
I sure did.
did. New York.
The general wig.
No, I did because
Yeah.
they were fat and they were old. Get them out of here. You're making me look bad, fatty.
They were. Remember that bill in New York they were trying to pass where we can come to your house and take you out if you're a threat to the health of your community?
Is that a thing?
They didn't pass it, but they've been trying to pass it for years, and then it came back during COVID.
What if Trump wins? He begins the mass deportation efforts. Democrats, along with their international cohorts, begin producing a mass propaganda campaign of people being loaded onto trains and buses and put in cages. And they say that Trump is enacting a second Holocaust, justifying an international response, which spirals into a World War III.
Yeah, UN
which
governance.
results in the U.S. having some kind of international force against it, where it loses.
Let's get before we even get to that. I don't think anyone watching this has a doubt that if Donald Trump tries to do this, Kathy Hochul, New York State's governor, Gavin Newsom, governor of California, would not mobilize their National Guard or whatever it is to defy the federal government. I think that's a given. Can we not agree on that?
They would not.
it is-
They would.
It's their
They
state.
would mobilize.
They would.
It's their state's right to do
The
it.
inverse
Yes.
of what Abbott did.
Yes, they would absolutely do it. They
Yes.
go, you are not coming here. We are protecting these people from your evil Donald Trump
Yep.
Nazism.
Yeah.
No
And then
question.
they would muster up support from foreign countries. The U.S. will be gutted and destroyed. Everything Donald Trump has done will be propagandized as the second Hitler.
Yes.
And then they will use that as justification for a new world order. The liberal economic order created after World War II to stabilize the planet was not strong enough. And this will be the creation of, it won't be overnight that there is a one world government. It will be that the UN gets law enforcement and policing powers within the jurisdictions of other countries at their own discretion.
Here's the other point I had to make is people don't appreciate that if the Republicans don't have huge majorities in both houses, Mitch McConnell or the Mitch McConnell successor doesn't care about President Trump. So if there's another impeachment, Mitch McConnell, if there was a third impeachment and Mitch McConnell's majority leader, Trump would be removed.
Yeah.
Because he'd be like, we don't need this guy. I would get the 67 votes in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
True.
There's 17 Republicans for sure who would vote for another impeachment if the party sat them down.
We've definitely got to maintain control of the world. We need of our country basically, because if the United States loses control, the global bankers, this new world order will be like, see, nations couldn't handle themselves, and it caused too much global war.
There
We
would be
need
a
this.
world court, not like the current one, but like a really one with muscle behind it, a world army. It would be absolute
In
madness.
Australia, I've heard recently they're now removing ATMs. They're going cashless. They're attempting to go cashless by 2030 in Australia.
Yep. And banks.
Is it because of the environment? Is that what they're saying?
I don't know yet, but I think
the hole in the
I
ozone.
wonder
No.
how the ESG
Guys,
score.
they're saying it's demand. They're saying people don't use banks to pull cash anymore.
Oh, my God.
Everything's digital, so without demand, there's no reason.
The
to
next
have
step
Remember
is the
when Alex
hand
Jones
chip.
was crazy?
What's that?
Remember when Alex Jones was crazy for talking about this?
Shout out to Amy Dangerfield, who just did an expose on it yesterday. Part 1 of 3. Check out Amy Dangerfield. Dangerfield on YouTube. It's terrifying.
This
And
is
then-
on the Australian.
Yeah,
thing?
in
Cool.
Australia, and then they're denying it. News has been like, oh no, that was the screenshot was it fake? That's not
Right.
really happening. Everybody that's freaking out. But what? So what they want now? Then the mark of the beast, I think, is the actual microchip to buy and sell stuff without cash. That's obvious. And if the power goes out,
I don't think it'll be a microchip.
What do you think it's going to be?
Your phone.
Yeah,
But you
why
can-
would you need the microchip? Enough people will be like averse to the idea.
People are addicted to their phones. They get
It's a tracking device.
Look at Hassan and that whole thing that happened with him, where his viewership declined, and then he went on this like depressive tirade
What's
about
Hassan who?
Hassan Piker.
Oh, okay.
He's the most prominent leftist streamer. His viewership drops, and he's posting horrible things and like, oh, I can't believe this, and he was threatening self-harm and things like that.
Really?
Wow. How long till
Yeah.
he Dylan Mulvaney's himself?
But so the
Hassan,
okay,
I got
so,
you, bro.
so the issue is people are addicted to the likes they get. The machine was built addictive on purpose. 10 years ago, Twitter had been talking about getting rid of the retweet counter and the like counter.
Yes.
They knew that it was creating this addiction, and they keep it. Why? It's a control mechanism. To keep people addicted, they have to get the social validation. People will march in lockstep with the government when the government says jump because they want to make sure they get those clicks. So Elon buying Twitter is great, turning into X. But if the lockdowns happened, and we already saw this half measure with Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, you could not ask questions. You could say very little without being removed because they wanted to make sure they control the opinion. And there were people who knew exactly what was going on, but were concerned if I say the wrong thing, they will delete my channel. So shout out to the anti-SJWs of the 2010s,
Yes.
who for some reason vanished off the face of the earth or started claiming that they were leftists. Why? They got scared they would lose their like machine and they didn't want to get banned.
And they weren't crazy to get scared.
No, but they're cowards.
Sure.
Yeah, but not they were right to be scared.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
It's the way you deal with fear is what makes you. You get to
Shout
decide:
out-
are you a coward or are you going to go face the fear?
Shout out to Chris Reagan for deleting his video "Punch a Nazi." Do you ever see this one?
Oh, he deleted it?
It's removed. I think he turned it private, so you can only find it by watching looking at videos of people who re-uploaded it.
How long did it take him for him to delete
I
it?
think it was only up for a year or two or something. I'm not entirely sure. But for those that don't know, this is a video where it's like a Weird Al style version parody where he took the song "Paparazzi" by Lady Gaga and wrote a song called "Punch a Nazi." And the joke of the song is that it's about a guy who everyone everywhere is a Nazi, no matter what they're doing. And it's a hilarious takedown of this mass formation psychosis. And then I guess some leftists were like, "You're helping Nazis," so he took it down. It's remarkable.
I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah.
God, oh, God.
No, apparently many people have said he got scared and so he took it down, and he's staying away from politics and culture and stuff.
Is that the guy from Cumtown?
No.
Cool name though.
Oh.
Oh, I don't know.
Great-
I'll look it
great
up.
show.
Is it spelled the way I think it is?
It's his Chris something. I thought, okay.
No. There were.
Oh, this is the guy with the girlfriend who was red-pilled, right?
he was dating Lacey Green.
Yeah, that's the
and
one.
she was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
feminist.
Mullen, Stavros.
Nick
There-
Mullen. Okay.
There were a bunch of
Sorry, I know I got them confused.
in the
That's so stupid
2010s.
of me.
There were a bunch of like anti-SJW.
Yeah.
And many of them are now anti-Trump. They stay out of politics. They're terrified. Some of them have denounced other people. They're absolutely terrified to be involved.
I understand the fear of talking about politics. I get it. I feel that fear every day when I come on this show and try and be honest or choose honesty in this realm. But you have to face it. If you don't, they're going to do it for you, and they're not going to do it.
You know what
the way
Ayn
you
Rand
like.
said? I'm not brave enough to be a coward.
But here's my question: like, what are people scared of? And you can comment and you can chat and tell me genuinely. I can understand the obvious. I have kids. I can't lose my job. Plainly obvious. Genuine. Like, what are people afraid?
You know what
of?
it is? It's imagine being in the 60s and coming out to your parents. Right? Now imagine your parents are blue-pilled and they have a view of Trump and you're like, you know what? I don't think Trump's so bad. For them, you're basically a crazy person as their son.
Yeah.
That's not a minor
It's-
consideration.
It's like the.
But what's the fear though?
But the fear that they're going to be kicked out of the house, that
Yeah.
they're going to be regarded as an outgroup by their loved ones. For a lot of people, their families, their mechanism of support. Like I wouldn't want, like if my sister was like vaccinating her, giving the kids boosters every 5 minutes, and I was skeptical about that. I want to see my nephews. That's that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what Michael's saying is like the soft launch of the social credit system.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yes.
and then the government wants to adopt that and then, own it and then destroy everyone's lives, which is why what's in Australia is terrifying. I think people are afraid of losing the money in the family like that.
I think that there is a decent probability that the timeline we are on is Trump wins, They accuse him of being Hitler. International outcry, civil conflict in the United States, resulting in the destruction of the constitutional republic. The narrative that Trump was a Hitler 2.0. They start destroying our version of events, the truth, basically. They start pushing propagandistic worldviews. They start releasing information that's just falsified to justify why Trump is bad. And then in 50 years, there's a one world legal authority, and this country has no borders. They're newcomers. They're citizens and undocumented citizens. I think there's a strong possibility that's the timeline.
I don't agree.
Do you think?
don't
they
I
can-
think it's a possibility, but I have.
I'm not saying it's absolute. I'm saying
no, I got you. I am far more hopeful about the future of this country.
What do you see?
no, but I'm talking about the world. Like what?
No, I understand what I think. If they had their druthers, this would happen tomorrow. Like, there's no question about that.
But what does the world do in response to a Trump, like a Trump 100% administration? He goes and he does exactly what he said he's going to do, and he does it all. He fires, he Schedule Fs, he cuts off the foreign wars, he brings the troops back.
But there's so many ifs there that if Trump was what they were saying Trump was, we wouldn't be where we are in 2024.
Where would it be?
I don't know, but it would be a completely unrecognizable country from where we ended up.
I
being.
also think when you ask about the world what they're going to do, I think the whole world's on fire in their own ways. We were just talking about Belgium before.
yeah.
It's like they're almost too distracted. I mean, they could do the whole like anti-Jordan Peterson thing and not worry about their bed, and then go worry about the rest of the world, which is a lot of people on the left might do, and a lot of the people in the politics right now in general. But I don't know if playing the Hitler card is going to work as well as it did last time. And now we're seeing like Michael Rappaport come around. Like, I don't know. Do you think that's going to be as
I
effective?
think it would work. I think it would be if you're actually rounding up people en masse, which none of us have seen in our lifetime. They can say with a straight face, "This is unprecedented. Where's it going to stop? Next, it's going to be gay people." They're going to say,
Right.
And then everyone's going to be like, "Okay, this isn't just him on Twitter. This is something really happening."
And
it's very easy to make
They'll
this
be like,
country
"Look, we
panic.
told you so."
Yeah.
Newcomers has actually become adopted by them. More and more Democrats are calling illegal immigrants newcomers.
Are they? No, are they?
Yes,
that's-
absolutely.
That's so smart of them.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a really. People underestimate how smart the Democrats are at branding.
Yeah, but
Is
is
a
it
language
wise?
play?
Yes.
That's
the
why
way
I
they've
keep
killed
saying
language.
criminal alien.
Yeah.
That's why I said stop saying illegal immigrant, push back. They're criminal aliens.
Do newcomers have a color on that flag yet? We should.
It'd be
We
white
should promote that
for
yeah.
purity.
No, they just they take the little triangle and put a sombrero on it.
You know what?
Yes.
Whenever I listen to you guys, anybody really talk about a potential future, my brain goes through contingencies. Well, okay, check. That's okay. Next step. Nah. So I'm listening to you, Tim, talk about Trump gets elected. Okay, green light. Next step. He starts rounding up. Immediate red light. That will not work. If he starts rounding people up, game over.
What does that mean, game over?
The entire country will dissolve into civil war.
But
And
yes,
then the corporate foreign corporations will take over. So we can't let that we got to somehow change his tactics.
But it won't be overnight. Trump he'll begin the process. He'll announce the deportation of criminal aliens. You will then start to see Customs and Border Protection get heavy-handed. There will be either a manufactured or accidental mass death incident at the border. This is one thing that I fear, considering you just had they released the migrants who literally attacked National Guard, who are armed, and the Republicans are seeking authorization for the use of lethal force on the border. And we know the cartels doing the human smuggling are armed as well. We are dangerously close to an armed conflict at the border. Democrats will frame it as Trump ordering innocent refugees and asylum seekers to be killed or something like that. As you mentioned, California, New York, probably Illinois, and Michigan probably will say, this is insane. We refuse. We will not participate. And then Trump's going to say something like, the federal government has supremacy and we will go in and be deporting these criminal
And
aliens.
here's the thing. California, Arizona, and New Mexico all have Democrat governors.
Right.
The governor of New Mexico is a complete loon who was the one who tried to unilaterally just ban guns.
Yeah.
So with not a big fan of the Constitution, even though I think with Cenk Uygur was like, this is crazy. So he was on my show. I asked him that question. So if you have that border over there with these hardcore lefties, Gavin Newsom certainly is. I don't know about Katie Hobbs, how hardcore she is. But point being, that is a huge chunk of our border that's under control of people who are taking their orders from higher ups.
You know what else is over
Hires
there?
up, excuse me.
China. And I'm just saying that because what would happen is you'd have foreign involvement if there was some sort of disturbance
Easily.
in the American way of life.
And George Soros money.
Yeah, Yeah, China would enter the conflict by offering material
Of
support.
course, you should be allowed to have our illegal refugees in your state, California. Let us help you.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.